Hello, this is JF, and today I'm going to be following up on my presentation from yesterday. Often asked if a blockchain is required, and so I've prepared a test to decide if a blockchain would be advantageous to your operation. So to start with, let's explain again what's a blockchain. So the idea here is you have a spreadsheet with a few blocks that are connected, and I do need to apologize because what you're seeing right now is not something that I've prepared myself. It's some public information I found on I believe GitHub, and I can't find the author. If you do know who prepared this, please let me know, and I will add him or her as a reference and credentials. Thank you. So the idea of a blockchain is that you have interconnected blocks, and each block is hashed in order to preserve the integrity of the information. So for example, here in block 5 we have some transaction that's like Bitcoin money that's transferred from different people. First the money is rewarded to the miner who did the approval process, who found the verified the information and got the first key and was rewarded with the Bitcoin. So that's the miner, and then you have some transaction. This is just like invention, this is not actually a real Bitcoin blockchain. It's just for illustration, and explaining. So you see all these transactions in the ledger, and then you have the data about the transactions, the operation. You have the previous hash of the block number 4, and then some timestamp for when the block was created, and here it says junk, but it can be anything that you want to, like comments, notes, anything like that. So you have that, and then in the hash here what you have is the value of cell A1 to cell C13. So a hash will give a value for any type of data, and digital data that is, and for any length. So this information is representative of all the data that we have here previous, and including the previous hash. So this hashing with the previous hash is what makes the blockchain and interconnects all of the blocks. So for example, here if we make any change in the data, you're going to see that the hash is going to change, and it's going to turn red, and that's going to mean that there's been a change in the blockchain, and all future hash will be changed. So that's how you know if a blockchain has been tampered with. So just going to add a space here, and you're going to see the hash is going to change completely, and every subsequent hash is going to turn red and change. Here I'm making the change, enter, and you see there's the new hash for the block 5, but all subsequent hash are changing. There you go. So so that's what the blockchain is. I'm not sure why it's not changing here. Okay, yeah, so it's block 5, 6, and 7. So block 5 here as this, another block 5. So these are at the bottom are not interconnected. It's only block 6 and 7 that are changed, because here these blocks have not changed, only this one here. So if I go back and change it back to what it was before, I remove the space, enter, and now the blockchain is restored to what it was before. Alright, so do you need a blockchain? So I've prepared a test here, and it's just a few questions, and that will help you decide if you need a blockchain or not. So let's just increase the size here to, let's say, 115, so we get a better view. All right, is your data, do you need to share your data? is like, are there going to be several people working on the data store? If not, if it's just your own personal budget or whatever, you don't need a blockchain for that. You just need a regular spreadsheet or a database, because blockchain are a tool that's been designed and created for a specific purpose, and if you don't need that, there's no need to add complication to your what you need to manage your data. Second question. So here, the way that my system works is, you ask the question. If the answer is no, you just come here and use a better option, and there's some explanation. So second question, if you do need to share your data, are there going to be several people adding the data? If not, again, just use a spreadsheet. There's just no need for a blockchain. Now, there is a caveat. If you need to audit your system for example, if it's for a certification or for accounting, taxes, things like that, then if you do need to audit, then you say yes, and you can go to the next line here. So in the case of where you need to audit, you need to be to have a way of making sure that any changes to the data is authorized. So in a case like that, you need like a version control system. This is like often seen in ISO 9001, AS9100, where you need to control any changes. You don't want to make any changes to approved data that could be could be risky. For example, you're designing an airplane and you approve some configurations, some materials, and then someone decides to change the material or the size of the part, and that's okay. You can do that, but you have to verify. You have to make sure that the changes are compatible and adequate and meet the regulatory requirement. So that would be an example of if you need to change, if you need to control the changes of your system. So in a case like that, you can use a version control system. That's often used in software development, but it's also used in automotive, airplane design and certification. You can use an online spreadsheet, database, and so blockchains do not allow changing past records. That's their feature. That's what they do. That's why we use a blockchain. Next question: is there a need for confidential information? If you need, if not, then you don't need a password. You don't need a blockchain. You can just use a password protected, encrypted spreadsheet, and that's it. If you do need to protect your confidential information, then do you trust the people who are allowed to change the system? If you trust them and they're certified personnel, then you just need like a regular centralized database, and Oracle or SAP or any type of custom database that your organization may have. So, but if you do need to trust, then you need to be able to have a tamper-proof log of all the history of the changes. If you don't need that, then just a regular spreadsheet or a database with version control is enough. You just need to know who changed what, and that's it. If you do need to have a tamper-proof log, then that's when you need a blockchain. That's why the blockchain were designed, developed, tested, and are used. And examples are like Bitcoin, cryptocurrency. Maybe one last thing, there's different types of blockchain. You can have like a completely public blockchain like Bitcoin, where you need all the transactions to be public. Then you would go here, yes, then what you need is a public blockchain. But if you want to have a blockchain with all of these advantages and features, but you want the blockchain to be controlled by your organization, and you only want to give access to the information, to the data, to regulators or your customers, or the interested parties that are defined in your ISO 9001 or AS 9100, then you use a permission blockchain. For example, Hyperledger is a good example that's been developed by the that's been controlled by the Linux Foundation with help from many organizations in the computer industry, such as IBM, Microsoft, and others. So that's it. If you have any question, please leave them in your comments, and I'm thanking you for your attention, and hope that this information has been useful for you. This is JF signing off. Thank you. Bye-bye.